people were fleeing Gaza and they needed a place to stay when they got out of the hospital. Yeah. And so I don't know how I found her on Instagram, but they had you fill out a form if you were willing to buy an Airbnb for a month for somebody. And so I filled it out and I was like, oh, I can finally do something, because you're just watching, people dying and children and people losing all these family members, feeling helpless. And I was like, okay, I can do something. So I guess I was the first person to fill out this form, as she told me later on. And no, not the first person to fill out the form, but the first person to say yes. And so she called and she's like, hi, it's Cece, you filled out this form. And she's like, oh, I'm like, okay, where do I send the money? What do I do? And I paid the Airbnb directly. So the money didn't cross her hands. It didn't go to people from Gaza. You just paid, you did it. They had contacted the Airbnbs, made sure it was okay to have somebody else book it for the people of Gaza. And so I said, okay. And she's like, really? I said, yes. I filled out the form. She was like, wonderful. So I did it. And then before you know it, I was getting other people to do it. And the people that couldn't afford a whole entire Airbnb, because they were, anywhere from $600 to $1,000, I got people to pitch in for it. I was very lucky. And I think, on my Airbnb app, it says that I stayed in Egypt like 13 different places. So, and then I just kept I put a lot of my own money. And every time she was like, you're so good at this. Do you want to volunteer? So I was like, sure. So I was trying to find donors. And when I couldn't find a donor, I just paid for it myself, honestly. So luckily she was able to start an NGO, and she got some donations, and they were able to house many of these people, find cheaper housing. My first family that I started with, I actually kept in contact. We FaceTime, our kids FaceTime. It was amazing to actually speak to somebody from Gaza, and it wasn't just somebody on Instagram anymore. And she's now my friend. Her name is Ilham. And anyhow, so I found Ilham. Okay, about vibrating on the same level. She hurt her knee when her house exploded. She had 5 minutes to leave her house. Hamas was not in her house. They knocked on the door. They told her to get out. She grabbed her kids, and that was it. And the house exploded, and she fell and she hurt her knee. So I was trying to find her acupuncture in Egypt. She evacuated to Egypt, and I went to a expat group. I said, does anybody have, an acupuncturist there? But I didn't find one. But somebody was putting their house for rent, their apartment, and they listed their apartment for only $350, and the Airbnb was $1,000. So I was like, oh, this is great. I can afford to pay this for her, so she don't have to worry about going anywhere. And I messaged her, like, do you mind if family from Gaza? She's like, no, it's fine. I want to help. She even lowered the rent a little bit for me. I literally wired over $1,000, the deposit and rent to Egypt based on trust. Okay. Yeah. But I really feel when people are vibing at the same level, like it's going to happen. So we found her a home. Cece, she got some organizations to donate some apartments. And so she's been operating this NGO. They get them shopping vouchers. They've bought